welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we'll be talking about life after undergrad because let's be real, it's hard, it's difficult, and nobody talks about it because you think, oh, you have your bachelor's, it's all cool, it's all dandy, but that's a lie. So I'm here to share my experience, my story, the best that I can with you guys. Warning, I will be talking a lot during this video, so if you don't want to hear me chat about the inside scoops of life after undergrad, just peace. If you want to stay, stay, but seriously, I will be talking a lot. Let me just start off by telling you guys where I graduated from. So I graduated from Syracuse University, which is in upstate New York, in Syracuse, New York. It is a 4-year private institution. Tuition is about $68,000 a year. So obviously I am rich, guys, so thanks to SSS, Student Support Services, I was able to get basically a full ride to Syracuse University as a Latina. It supports first-gen students who come from low-income homes, so big shout out to them. So the first question is about the decision between working and continuing on my grad school career. So personally, I started applying to jobs my last semester of my senior year, technically my senior year. So I started in August, and I kept getting just like no's, sorry, you don't qualify, either getting really low pay. It just wasn't worth it for me to take up any other job opportunities that I was personally getting. But I knew personally that I wanted to work after undergrad because I had bills to pay. I would be living with my grandma, so eventually I knew I would have to help her out within the household. I didn't have the opportunity to live with my family because they moved to St. Louis. Like I said, just finding a job wasn't easy for me. Literally, I had no job lined up when I graduated Syracuse in December of 2019. But I had a really good friend, her name is Genesis, who kind of referred me to her job, and it was a caseworker for homeless men over the age of 50. I got the interview, I got the job, but I wasn't like super ecstatic about the pay and the hours that I would be getting, which is typical in my major, which is human development and family sciences. We don't get paid enough for the work that we do, but I know that I wanted to go into humanitarian work. I wanted to give back to my communities, but I just wasn't super excited about that. So I had to pass up on the job. And this was a very hard decision for me personally because I just didn't know if anything else would come up within the near future, so it was really nerve-wracking for me. So at this point, I continued to just not get any luck, so I was like, you know what, I'm gonna apply to grad school, not knowing what the heck I want to study for grad school. Mind you, like, I had no idea what I wanted to study for grad school, but I applied to Hunter, City College, and NYU. So out of all of these things, there was a $75 fee for Hunter and City College for the application fees. And NYU has a fee, but they waived it when I said that I had financial issues, so they were really good about that. But City College and Hunter did not waive it. That was like the turning point for me. I realized, like, you know what, I'm not getting a job for a reason. God is trying to tell me something. Keep on pursuing your school. At this point, I didn't know 100% what I wanted to study, so I kind of just picked something that I knew I would enjoy. So I went into mental health counseling for all schools. Like, I applied to mental health counseling program for Hunter, City College, and NYU. So unfortunately, NYU, City College, and Hunter all dubbed my admissions. So obviously this came as like a little bit of a down, little, you know, it sucked to work so hard on your undergrad and then not get admitted into grad school. So I was like, you know what, God has a plan, God has a purpose for you, and it's gonna be okay. Like,
I am living for the Lord. I am living for the Lord. I am living for the Lord.
Like, I wasn't stressing. Like, at no point was I stressing that I didn't get in. I saw the email and I was like, oh, okay, cool, that's that simple. And I was actually texting one of my high school teachers, Christy. She's always been a mentor in my life and guided me the right way all the time. At this point, she had mentioned the New York City Teaching Fellows, and Ironically enough, I do believe that the universe gives you signs and nothing in life is a coincidence. So I went and I was like, you know what? Let me look at their website. Let me see if this is really something that I could do as a career, teach. And funny enough, before I enrolled into City College, I had plans to pursue teaching, but always got signs to just teach. Like, everyone important in my life who has guided me and been a mentor to me has always been a teacher. It wasn't a surprise to me that like God and the universe was like pushing me in that direction. So obviously I applied. Funny enough, they were going through the application process as I applied. So within the next 2 weeks, I got an interview for a phone interview. At first, you have to answer some questions, then you get a phone interview, and after the phone interview, you go to an in-person interview. So I went to all 3 interviews, and I got into the program. To me, it didn't come as a surprise that it was teaching, because I felt like God and the universe was always pulling me in that direction, but I always ignored it because I felt like not ready about that. I felt insecure and I feared like I wouldn't be a good enough teacher to these kids. I took a chance and I got in. And so what this fellowship is I earn my master's at a subsidized rate, and they basically take my tuition out of my paychecks when I get a job, and I go through intensive training over the summer. And yeah, so basically I will be working full-time and getting my master's in education through this wonderful program, which is why it's so funny, guys, because honestly for me everything happens for a reason. So when I like finally reached this point where I was like, wow, I'm actually getting my master's, it was such a blissful moment for me. I felt like all the L's that I took and all the hardships that I faced were for a reason, and I feel really good about where I'm heading, and I feel really great about being a Latina who's getting her master's. So shout out to me. So that's literally a little recap. Now I'm gonna kind of go into a little in-depth questions, see if I can spice things up, because that was just kind of like a lot about me, but it gave you no insight to like life after undergrad. But literally life after undergrad in a nutshell was that it's taking L's. It's realizing that there are going to be companies and people who don't want you to work for them, but there will be companies who you will work for. They would admire you. You will reach the top, and through hard work and perseverance you will get there. So don't ever give up on yourself and on your dreams. So is it hard getting a job after undergrad? So personally, I think it depends on what major you go into. It was hard getting a job. I'm not gonna lie. It was very hard getting a job. And I personally had a difficult time, but it all led up to the moment that I am in right now today. I wanna just tell you, don't give up, seriously. Like, follow your gut. It's telling you that for a reason. Like, don't ignore those. Your gut and your intuition are your best friend. And when you ignore those things, you often set yourself up for failure, as I did many times. Another question was I happy to leave my institution? I was ecstatic to leave Syracuse. So I was in an early college program, so I ended up graduating high school with 72 college credits, which I was able to transfer to Syracuse University, allowing me to graduate in 2.5 years with a bachelor's, because it basically covered all my electives. So I was really thankful that, one, I saved money, because although I was in a scholarship, I still had federal loans that I had to pay off, that I have to pay off, let's be real. Hardest transition. So I guess my hardest transition was coming back home and not having my family here. Like realizing like if I wanted to stay in the city and I wanted to do this on my own, I had to be persistent. I had to be ready to kind of take this hardship on, because I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't easy. It's still not easy. What is my biggest struggle or fear? It's constantly thinking that I'm not good enough. Like constantly thinking that I won't be as good as other people, and that's what stopped me to pursue teaching for so long. It was thinking like I can't be a teacher, and that was honestly the biggest thing holding me back all the time. It was that constant like voice in my head telling me that like you can't do it. But you know what, screw that voice. I can do it. I am doing it, and so can you. So if you have that fear, my biggest advice to you is to journal. Journaling helped me get out so much, and then reading it back and kind of like seeing the writing from the time that I was down, I was insecure, I was fearful, and seeing the writing now, like that growth just pushes me to want to keep proving myself wrong. Because it's not about proving others wrong, because everyone will always try to knock you down. It's about proving it to yourself more than anything else. So as long as you know what you're doing and why you're doing it, nothing else should really matter. Have you taken up any new hobbies? So the best hobby that I can say that I've taken up is being a dog mom. It has consumed my life so much. To me, she's kind of a hobby because I have to train her, I have to play with her, I have to walk her, I have to bathe her, which is a lot of work. But other than that, I have tried to take up running, but I'm not the fittest person in the world. Do I have a current job now? I do have a job. I have a part-time job as an instructor in an after-school program. My biggest advice is to not burn all your bridges. To constantly reach out to people who have succeeded, who have made it. They did it, and I'm pretty sure they're gonna want to help you do it too. So any job I've ever gotten has been through the help of other people. So again, reach out to people that you know. Just because you have something doesn't mean that that's just gonna work out. You should have multiple doors open at the start of your post-undergrad life, because I only had one door open and I thought that it was enough, and turns out when that door closed, I was completely like... So I'm going to talk a little bit about the fellowship. I have a love-hate relationship with taking tests. So I did not take my GREs when I graduated, or before I graduated. I did not take it. I did not study for it. I did not plan on taking it, because I kind of did a little bit of research, and I was like, if I do go to school, these schools don't require a score, so let me not take it. Because the test also costs $205. Let me tell you.
Oh, hell no!
Alright? Grad school is expensive, and I haven't even gone to grad school, and it's already like cost a lot of money. So but for my fellowship, I do have to take the GRE, and I have to take the CST, and I have to take the EAS. So the GRE is basically like the SAT for grad school. It's a test to help the school determine like your level of knowledge. I don't know the logistics of it. I don't know the highest score you can possibly get, but I do know it's a 5-hour test. I didn't even know about the GRE till like my 3rd semester in college. So yeah. And the EAS and the CST are basically tests to get certified as a teacher. And the last 2 things that I'm going to share with you guys are my last 2 advice before I give you my blessings. 1, don't close all your doors with people. Connect with people, make connections, go to interviews. Don't close those doors until you know you have your entire body, foot, arm, limbs in one door, ready to say yes. My last advice to you is to trust your gut, trust your intuition. It's your best friend in all situations, and it can take you so many places. Much love, guys. I hope you enjoyed my video.